Hello, YouTube and everybody else. I got a freaking haircut. I did it myself, actually. That's why I look so fucking shitty. Tonight is MATHfest, and I hope to see you guys there tonight. Snow obviously is a big probability, but it looks like it's not supposed to start till later, so it shouldn't impact things too much. Obviously, driving home later may be a concern, so make sure you have your gloves and your snow boots ready for when you get out of the show. It won't be going too late. We're gonna be going to like 10:30ish, I think, is about how long the 10:30, 11 or so. So not the usual time frame where it's gonna last, till 12 o'clock or 1 in the morning. It is a political thing. It's all ages, and I'm going to get my kid to bed eventually. I'm going to let him stay out, and he's coming. So feel free to bring your kids. It is kid-friendly. Obviously, it's politically driven, but it's really about local musicians and their artistry and the economy that reinforces local musicians. That's what this is really all about, and why we're reinforcing our drive behind Andrew Yang, because he is the candidate that wants to make America think harder, and we also want to reinforce that line of thought that the artisan economy is really, really crucial. So it's okay if it's not your thing. If you're voting for another candidate, feel free to stop by. Music is free. All we ask is that if you are interested, you consider to donate online at yang2020.com. For MATHfest, for the door fee or whatever it is. So it's 3 acts. Reverend Todd Seeley is opening with a specialist acoustic set list. And then the band I'm in, Ambient Discord, we're going to be playing second in line, which is really great because we can pre-sound test. And I'm looking forward to that. It's not often that we get to have that nice thing where we can sound test a band ahead of time. And then Bigfoot, Reverend Todd Seeley's main project that he's in outside of his solo project is called Bigfoot. So he's going to close out the night as well. And we want to thank Todd for filling in the opening spot because we had somebody drop off, unfortunately. It's tough when you're a musician and you don't have support when you're also a parent, conflicts sometimes come up with parenting schedules and so on and so forth. So we want to go ahead and give a shout out to our friend Stephen Goterick and his project. He was formerly in Indigo and now Gnostic Sun. And they were going to open originally as a solo acoustic act, but things happen sometimes, and we have to adapt. So like the snow, we're adapting tonight. We're looking forward to a really great show. It's supposed to be a pretty good turnout. There's a lot of people canvassing from all over the country. We're hoping to give them some free music and the opportunity to kind of, hang out, have a good time, but also to reinforce the message about the artisan economy, that we can build a trickle-up economy, and the jobs of the future are not the jobs that we hate, but the jobs we love, and the jobs that drive us, the jobs that make us filled with passion and passionate in life and driven. Music has always been a driving factor for me, but I remember the whole thing being, how realistic is it to be a musician? Something my late wife and I would argue about sometimes is that there just isn't an economy for people like us. So it's great to see this, and this is why I'm such an advocate and why I'm running this event, and why I put my time and energy and money even into the room, is that we really need to resonate with artists in that facet, because they are the number one export, right? Hollywood, music, acting, expression is number one export, but yet it's valued so little when it comes to global domestic product. GDP, as you'll see in other videos and Yang videos too, is just an outdated, really archaic method of measurement that we've got to move away from. We've got to skip away from the jobs of the past and into the jobs of the future. Podcasting, YouTube, being in a band. I do think that as long as you have something to contribute to the world artistically, and my bar is set very low of what I think expression of good expression is, because in my opinion I think any expression is good expression artistically. Not everybody's going to agree, but I listen to a lot of stuff like Daniel Johnston and stuff that some people just can deem unlistenable. For me, I'm all over the place, and I just like to hear expression. For me, I've lost a lot in life, so I feel like as much, people in my life that I've lost in pain and whatnot, I can channel that as energy. And I feel like a lot of musicians do that and artists do that. And I feel like it makes some of the most honest and genuine music and art out there. And it's why I'm such an advocate for Andrew Yang, because he sees that and he sees the importance of that. So we really hope you can make it all out tonight if you're locally in Massachusetts, Maine, and New Hampshire, and you're really concerned with a place to crash or whatever. I live somewhat close by, and we can carpool, and you guys are free to crash here or whatever. Yang Gang's welcome, for sure. Anything I could do to try to support, it's really super important that we reinforce those types of relationships, and especially with canvassers and stuff, because they're out here from Iowa, they're out from other areas, and things like tonight, or there's an event, it's not always easy to know everybody locally. So I think it's important that we network that way when we can, but so importantly, that we're safe if you are driving later. Remember, it is snow, and chances are you're from New Hampshire or Iowa. You're familiar with the driving conditions. But if you're not, don't chance it. If you've never driven the snow before and you're from southern states, Florida, anything like that, make sure you're being conscious of that if you've never driven in the conditions before. Uber is another factor. There is a lot ride sharing out here, even though we're pretty rural, right up to where my house is in almost in Lee-ish, near the circle there. It's wild how many actual Uber drivers and Lyft drivers are out here. So ride sharing is a thing. If you're not from locally and you're concerned about rural territories and you need a ride overall, hopefully we can really make tonight a good night, regardless of the snow. I don't think it's going to be, again, until later on and impact us really that much. But we really want to thank everybody who has reinforced this and supported this, because local musicians really have a sense of what it's like. I kind of thought of this ahead of time before Weezer kicked off their event in Iowa, and it just made me think, like, Weezer's awesome in my opinion. I like them a lot. But they have that type of reinforcement where they can use their platform to spread a message. We're not super popular, but our bands locally, these bands that are playing, are somewhat of a staple in the community. Bigfoot is a huge staple in the community of music locally for me. And I think a lot of other local artists and musicians would feel the same way and say the same thing. And the nice thing about that is that they're always pushing, people in a positive direction locally. And I think that's the way that we need to go. We need to come together. But local music communities, artist communities, or keep those things vibrant and keep them going, keep people networking and communicating about events like tonight. So it's really great to see that type of reinforcement, especially when we run into something like snow being a concern and whatnot. We're still going to run the event, and we're going to try to do what we can to integrate the way Yang Gang knows best to help each other out, and to, support anybody if they need it, if they're canvassing, if they're out of the area that they're, if they're from out of the area, rather. But I really want to emphasize this enough. I can't emphasize this enough that that your support from the Yang Gang to other Yang Gang is so important. it's just like that local community of music, but it doesn't happen in a local sense as it does kind of nationally. Like our local meeting ground is the internet, right? It's where we're all kind of in the same space at the same time. That is our locality. But I guess what I'm getting at is that this type of community builds grassroots, that build revolutions, that change the world. So it's, I think, little things collectively that build this type of community and sense of belonging. So I really hope to see you guys all out there tonight. And those of you who can't make it because you're busy phone baking, canvassing, doing whatever on the road, or you just, you have family in life and you can't and make it work. I rethink all the support and the sharing, anything you can do to spread the word about this. Subscribe and like. New Hampshire primary is super important. And independent musicians and independent thinkers and even independent politicians, politically leaning musicians. Like a lot of us are independents. I know Todd and Bigfoot's Democrat, and that's part of the reason why he's supporting this. He sees the energy behind this person in the Democratic Party he hasn't seen in a long time. A lot of people see that they haven't seen in a long time, and it's good to see those types of energies, even in the Bernie campaign. We don't have to be divisive like Sanders and Warren. We can be supportive and prop each other up, and I think that's what we're doing and what we're going to continue to do, and why we're going to win. Because positivity is the word, it's the way forward. As the Mandalorian creed goes, this is the way. Yeah, I can see that applying a lot to Yang Gang. Anyway, thank you so much. Subscribe, like, and tonight, Saturday, the 18th, has come. MATHfest is going to be a blast, and we hope to see you out there if you are locally in New Hampshire. Again, thank you so much for your support. Thank you for being Yang Gang. Thank you for donating and pushing that needle forward, because it's not left, it's not right, it's forward. I'll see you guys later.